Welcome back to Tips Creatives. Today we're going to be testing out some washi tape and how to create your own. I've got some stamps here that I've pulled out, some of my favorite ones, cute little blocks of animals. Here's a little list of things that I've used, some of the archival inks, which are the pigmented inks or solvent inks, so that they don't reactivate when they get wet and they won't fade or smear. So they're more water resistant, and they make a really nice crisp image. So when you're loading your stamp, you just want to lightly tap it, and then press it on to whatever you're going to be using, whether it be tape or paper, and you want to press it down nice and firm and pull it straight off so that when you pull straight up, it doesn't smear the image. So what you see here is that I have several different types of tape that we're going to be testing out. I went to the store and I bought some medical tape, one being paper tape, the other being silk tape, the other being fabric tape. And what you see here is I'm taking my little cute owl and I tapped it down into the archival pigment ink, which is black, and then I'm pressing it firmly down onto the tape. This particular tape is the fabric or cloth tape, as they like to call it, trying to create that nice crisp image by pressing straight down and pulling straight up. I have several different inks out here, so I'm going to experiment with different colors on these different types of tapes and see how they all act or react when we use them. And again, tap, 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 pressing my cute birdie straight down onto the cloth tape, and then I will pull it straight back up. And what I'm doing is I'm just gently wriggling it around to make sure that I'm also getting the edges nice and crisp of those animals. Now, if you overload your stamp, you'll see that you'll leave little extra ink imprints around. I have a little bit of one up by the bird, but so far so good. Now I am showing you the silk tape. The silk tape right now looks great. As I press down, put the image there, it comes out nice and dark and colorful and clear. I really like how that looks at this point. So we've got the squirrel, we've got the owl, and as you can see, it shows up darker and crisper than the cloth tape in the back so far. So again, this is the silk tape. And so I'm going to practice on this. We've got metallics that we can use. We've got some other, so that's the silver and gold metallics. We've got some sepia and some other colors. And so I'm going to just be trying all of those. The metallics do stay very nicely. They are pigmented. They do stay wet a little longer, so you just don't want to, touch them after you've used them. I love my little bloom stamp with the flowers. It's so cute here, and we're going to test the bloom on both the cloth and the cloth or fabric. It's called either one, and the silk tapes. Now these tapes are really pretty inexpensive. You can get, I think it's like 3 yards or 9 feet for just a few dollars. So you can practice with these. What's nice here is I'm practicing for you, and I'm putting the small expense into that. You don't have to do it. So I've pressed the bloom in the back, and I'm using the silver and gold, and then I'm using it on the silk tape up front. This is the gold that I'm pressing down using the bloom stamp here, and I just think that's a cute little flower stamp. Now I've switched to the little always, the wording. I'm wanting to see how crisp each one comes out in the tape. Sometimes if the image is heavier and a little more complex, it might blur together and smear together. And then if it's whiter, like this one is a nice wide floral stamp. And so I could use that as a bulk stamp throughout all of these tapes and cover more area, and it's going to look good because the image is farther apart and going to be a little crisper. So then as I'm doing all of this stamping, I decide, all of this white showing, I think I'm going to color that in. So I start just randomly taking my little blotter here and putting black throughout the images, sometimes a little sepia throughout the images, just trying to create a color in between. Honestly, I would have maybe done this a little differently and a little better, but we're just testing things out right now, seeing how it stays, seeing how it moves, seeing if it doesn't move. And so it's just a small test right now, and so I'm not really worried about the perfection of it or how beautiful it looks, because I've really covered over the bloom stamp there. You can hardly see the one, the second row down. So far so good. I'm going to finish these up, and then we're going to see what the results are here shortly. Please like, subscribe, and so here's an addendum to our video on the making your own washi tape. And what I wanted to show you is that I did experiment with several different types of tapes, like we talked about. I did a paper tape that I stamped onto. I did a silk tape that I stamped onto, and a cloth type tape that I stamped onto, all being the ones that you can buy at the store that are considered medical tape. Those are only a couple dollars to try a whole roll at Walmart, and you get I can't remember how many feet of it, like maybe 9, and then you can experiment at will. So here was one of my first attempts. Now this is the silk type tape, and what I want to show you here, if I can show you here, so the silk tape kind of blurs. I don't know if you can see that, but the ink really does just absorb into the silk, and it distorts the picture. So though I really liked this tape because it sticks well, it rolls up on itself well, it comes off well, it holds the paper pages well, I was really kind of disappointed on how well it takes the pigmented ink, or the more permanent type ink. And so I tried not only the black, but I thought, well, let's try sepia. Maybe that will look a little different. So here it is, the sepia. It's not bad, but it still, to me, has kind of a blurry look. And so, once again, a little disappointed. I even put some glitter on that. I don't know if you can kind of see the glitter shine in that one a little bit. I tried to glitterize it, put it all over. So not bad, maybe because the picture is not so, there's not so many details in it, so it's not sitting as close together and then smearing and blending into itself. And I'm doing this all crooked, but that's okay because I could do it more later. So again, sticks well, but does the blurry kind of thing. Paper tape. I wouldn't do it. I'd stay away from it if I were you, because it is... So it's been several weeks since I did the experiment, and it stamps very nicely. You can't necessarily tell from here. And actually, now that I think about it, since it has been a few weeks, the owl and the fox looks like it kind of lost some of its detail. But the flower back there looks better. I mean, it looks good. But this tape lost a lot of its stickiness. And so I would have to use glue for sure to put it on anything. But yeah, the stickiness is pretty much lost. And I don't know, it doesn't look very good. So the paper tape, which I was hoping would be the best, disappointed me because it was probably the worst. And I tried to use the glitter, a little bit of glitter glue over it. I tried to do the stamping or coloring all over it with the stamping ink. And I tried to use the impressions, but it won't smear because it is waterproof, but it certainly was not attractive. Now this ended up being my favorite, which surprised me. So this one is the cloth tape, fabric tape is also known as, and again, this is something that you use at the, This is a medical grade tape, got it at Walmart. It does unroll from itself and roll up very well. And as you can see, the image is very nice. So you did the bunny, did the florals, did the little bloom flower plant. Love that one. And I just kind of alternated that throughout this strip. Oh, and the birds turned out so cute. Didn't they turn out nice? So as you can see, if you don't get too busy with your image, it can look really nice. Now, like I said, this was done many weeks ago, and it still looks really good. The tackiness is great, so it will roll back up on itself. I just put this on a spool to store it. So let's just keep rolling it. And as you can see, here is where there's actually a ledge So did you see that? Yep, took that right off of there. So I had just connected a piece that I had torn off or cut, and I just put it here and just kept rolling it up for storage. So I could take that whole piece and use it on anything I wanted. As you saw, we used it on these little cards for an experiment. Again, I did not use glue on these little cards, and it's holding very well. This is that cloth tape. I used it on one side, and normally, you know, that washi would come off, but this one held really nicely, and so I like it. Also, now with cloth tape, it doesn't tear as easily. I was able to tear it, but honestly, I would probably use scissors because sometimes I can't get it started and it can go any direction. Sometimes those threads can kind of just go rogue, go any direction they want. But again, you tear off the section you want, use it on that piece of paper, and let's get the bunny rabbit. See, that one does not want to tear. There we go. Let's put that one over here, over here. We're gonna put this one over here. I'm kind of in an awkward angle for filming right now, but I'm getting it done. And so if I press this down and try to really make it stick, it would. Because it's been a few weeks, I'd probably choose to use some glue to help make sure it was gonna stick and not move. But it will come off your page without tearing it. And I could even put this right back on. Oopsie, sorry about that. So I could put that right back on here and roll it up and save it for later. Sorry about my shakes. I hate my shakes. They just drive me nuts. So anyway, and again, I've got this fun little storage. What I did here is I took a spool and I glued an ornament holder to the top. Thought that looked really cute, and a nice little ornament holder that's kind of blingy and got some shine here. And I also put some spacers, bead spacers there that have rhinestones in them. And then I made it into my little washi holder. I thought it was kind of cute. So anyway, I wanted to follow up with you and show you that there are different tapes. Not all of them are the same. And you've got me to experiment for you, so you don't have to lose money on trying things out and going, oh my gosh, that looked terrible. How did that happen? And why didn't that work for me when it worked for somebody else? Some brands are different than others too. So it can always be brand specific. I do think if you use something that's not as heavy on the imaging, it will look better than like when I did it here. So that's another lesson learned. But definitely the cloth tape, I think, is the way to go. And again, it is the one from Walmart, and it was their brand, not real expensive. And give it a try. Just have fun. It's an inexpensive way to just play and practice and see what you might like, and to create your own washi images. I'm always picky. I'm always like, oh, I like that, but I don't like that. And I feel like I'm wasting my money on some things, you know, if I might be getting a package that I don't really care for. So this way I get specifically what I want. So anyway, have a great day, and I hope you learned something today. Bye.